Welcome to this alternate history scenario where this time the French Empire led by Napoleon, finally they understand that the Prussians and the British are teamed up together. The Prussians send a massive force to help Wellington in the future. The Napoleon sends his second best general and defeats that force. Now, Wellington at Waterloo is all by himself and has to fight the combined armies of the French with no Prussian reinforcements. The battle map of this scenario shows the Duke of Wellington on this standard hill. Now, he doesn't have too many cannons. He only has 2 artillery, 12-pounders, 42nd Black Watch and Foot Guards protect his extreme right flank, 2 sets of standard cavalry on the far flanks, 2 fortified military redoubts in front of his line. He sees Napoleon move up. Twice as many artillery, utilizing howitzers so he can arc his rounds over the British hill into his lines. Napoleon also brings his elite Old Guard infantry. He will stack them on the left flank of his side or the right flank of Wellington's. This will be a combined effort for the French, a massive battle, epic proportions, high number of casualties. With Wellington is outnumbered and has no Russian reinforcements, can he still defeat Napoleon at Waterloo? And ladies and gentlemen, the time has finally came. The actual battle, where in this hypothetical situation, Napoleon does not have to worry about Russian reinforcements. And this leaves, you see this massive line of French troops, skirmishers in the front, line in the back. And this is the right flank, moved over here to Wellington's side. He has a bad situation to defend. Some light skirmishers, some line infantry. Typical standard line, but there's not very many. They're outnumbered and they know it. Like I said, in this situation, Napoleon is at free will, basically. Wellington is not having that Prussian reinforcements to circle and attack the French behind their back. But just moving out through the line here, we see a decent formation here, defensive formation. Foot guards right here. These are highly elite troops. Very good, very effective at defense. These will be their only chance as those troops. And you see us on the right flank here. This looks like they're following standard British doctrine. The most elite troops on the right. Some artillery space in there, as you see, but we're just going to span out here, and we got large, well, not really large, but a decent amount of line infantry holding the entire hillside. And we're going to do a little circum view of this by going back up here to the French side. The French have already started moving their forces up. Napoleon wants the initiative. He wants the advantage. You see a lot of the troops here kicking up dust as they march, and hear the fife. It's a beautiful, beautiful rhythm, but it's almost kind of frightening because how many men have died listening to that march? But anyway, see up here we got some howitzers right here. We'll go back to the second, but we're just going to span up here. And this is the second in command, the right flank of the French. Pretty standard troop layout, but he's very, very numerous. I think he put more troops than he did artillery, and that's going to be very useful in the later stage of the battle, breaking through that center as the French hope. I just got a nice little overview just to watch the troops move up to position because they are preparing to start the flanks here. The French won't take their time though, but just imagine being a British soldier knowing there's no reinforcements, there's no help, no one's going to bail you out. It's up to your fine general, Duke of Wellington, to hold the line. You have to hold it, but you're outnumbered 2.5, 3 times. And there's some early shots here from artillery. They just hit the hillside, didn't do too much damage, looks like, but the British artillery is also firing back. And we're going to move on. But as the French troops moved up, the British artillery went absolutely pounding away. They knew their only chance was to kill as many French troops, or at least scare them before they get to the British line here. As you see, the few British artillery is doing its best to fire back, but the French artillery is closely, and they are now officially in range, hitting the right flank hard with that very devastating howitzer. Nasty round. The howitzer is so good because it can fire an arc round besides firing direct shot. Like I said earlier, this heavily negates the heel advantage. But the British troops are still watching as the hundreds or the thousands of French troops keep pushing closer and closer pretty quickly. Napoleon wants to take the battlefield. He wants to take it right now. He does not want to wait another day. So why not? You have a little view here of the French artillery, and it's like the one's still unlimbering, but you see here a nice little volley here right into that British hard right. And if you know anything about British doctrine, the extreme right on British was usually their best troops. So this is a very good use of artillery here by Napoleon. Just gonna reload here and fire a probably high explosive round into the line. Let's see. Ooh, a nasty sound, but that's more of a nasty impact right there. And the other artillery is starting to move to the center, looks like, but a big exchange of artillery on both sides. And the French line is getting quite pounded by these, probably 12-pounders up here. Here's a few of these little scrimmagers that they're just looking at the battlefield, waiting for their positions to change. And the British have actually taken the right house. So this is going to be almost a fortification they could use to do their best to slow the French assault. Just look at the 42nd Black Watch, very elite infantry, and it's being absolutely pounded by our howitzers rounds. Very nasty, very, very deadly. And this is the general overview, or the French plan to win this battle. As you see here in the first phase, Napoleon and his second commander is going to move his troops march forward to try to fight the British line on head-to-head. Uneven ground, so they will expect massive casualties, but they'll use their numerical advantage to slowly wither away at the British line. Count that with the twice as many artillery as the British had, giving them a significant advantage. So they will eventually move their troops up here, just fighting to try to at least get a breakthrough maybe in the center, if not just hold the British at bay. The second phase will use the Old Guard, the most elite troops in the French military. On the left flank here, the two units on the top left of the French will actually pierce the attack. Well, when they actually push the left flank, they will be in pretty much hand-to-hand combat, and it might get very difficult. At this time, the British army will most likely be distracted, and Napoleon hopes that maybe Wellington will send some of his reserves or try to reinforce the right flank of his with the troops from the center. This will make a breakthrough in the center a lot easier. So at this point in time, we can expect a massive push in the center as seen by here. The redoubt number 2, which was just already taken, will then reinforce that extreme right flank to prevent any kind of counteroffensive from the British. On the left flank, the French are probably going to use their reserves to push redoubt number 1, the fortification, and then push on and start envelopment of the British line. This would spell a certain defeat for Wellington. His troops would be encircled and nowhere to retreat. It'd be a monumental victory for the French. But will the battle play out as planned? We shall find out. And we will find out now. The battle is approaching its climax. Both forces are now getting extremely close to each other. Artillery is starting to ramp up. You see the smoke on the field. Looks like another British 12-pounder is going to fire here any second now. Ooh, that's a cool sound. And then there's some of the French artillery coming in. Okay, did you hear what the officer just said? That was pretty cool. But as you watch, the artillery is now firing as many rounds as quickly as possible, trying to do the maximum amount of damage to the French line before they hit the British hill. And I believe I can start hearing some musket fire. We'll move that on the right. Just watch this little artillery duel, because it gets quite intense. But moving out of here, we've heard some gunshots, I believe. There we go. Yes, redoubt number 2 is actually in range of the French line back here. With the muskets out the window, just trying to shoot. And looks like the French line is now pushing. The 42nd Black Watch is now firing a volley. Artillery comes in, and some French cavalry has actually pushed the artillery. Unexpected. Oh, and a howitzer round hits at the same time. The 42nd Black Watch, the elite troops as they are, will move to a square formation to counter the French cavalry. But it looks like the British cavalry will try to salvage the situation and protect the artillery. They'll come in the right flank. And just like that, the Old Guard, the most elite force in the game, is now starting to fire upon these right flank defenders. Move to the center. The situation is not much better for the British. Multiple French troops are still pushing the envelope. They are still pushing hundreds of men closer and closer to the British line. But the right flank is, the left flank for the French, the right flank for the British is in a very difficult battle. The Old Guard fighting at the building. The 42nd Black Watch fighting cavalry. And let's see what's going on over here. Looks like the British cavalry did successfully repel the French, and the Black Watch are now in a gunfight. Using the hill against the Old Guard, they might have the advantage. Get some volley fire. It's loud. It's a lot of smoke, and it's intense. We knew this was going to be a tough battle. And they are firing everything they got at those French. And look at the artillery hitting the mountain. Just got this little overview. We're shooting from the buildings. It's very intense. And the Old Guard is moving up the hill. They are so brave. Look at this. Just marching up the hill. Oh, you saw some people drop there. What's going on here in the center? Let's get a better view, actually, because the old guard's now starting to push. They are charging bayonet first into the 42nd Black Watch. And oh, that volley was nasty. But now they are in hand-to-hand combat, and these are the best of the best. If you're Wellington, you're probably really nervous about that flank. But look at the center. A look at the exchange of fire. The British are firing everything they have at that French. I mean, this is intense. Look at this. This point of view, you can see so many French back there. And if you don't, you see the little red bar right there. They're actually fighting for redoubt number 2. And look at the British line, just firing volley after volley into that mass. But I mean, what do you do? The amount of firepower the French have in this situation is almost overwhelming. Looks like the British are going to do a square formation again, because it looks like the cavalry are back, or actually, sorry, the old guard has won the battle. So they're fighting some dragoons over here. Like the foot guards are in a square formation because they have to fire at multiple different positions. Situation is kind of rapidly deteriorating right here, but man, the French are really putting it on the British right now. They are putting everything they got. Their firing position's not the best, but they are definitely suppressing the British line. Wow, that looks so cool right there. Try to move around, get a good overlay. Looks like the British are slowly actually repositioning. They might even kind of start pushing troops back because they're just getting overwhelmed. And yeah, look, the foot guard is now giving up the hill on the right flank. Oh, man. Ooh, and there are howitzers coming at the... Oh, nasty, nasty things. Look, see this right here? The foot guards are kind of diagonal on the hill. They've given up the hill. And a very intense firefight right here. Oh, man, that British line's getting cut up. But what's going on back here? Is this, some British cavalry just trying to, I guess, save their flanks. And there's Wellington here in the center. He's trying to figure out a way to command this. Just look at this. Look at this position here. Look at all the firing. The smoke shoe, everything. It's very intense, and it's a very difficult situation for the British defenders. This is probably what the real battle looked like, besides the British being routed on the wall, on the line, but... Oh, nasty volley right there. And looks like some more French reinforcements come to the center. This is what's going to do the push. You know, here on the right flank, the old guard, victorious from their battle, they are now lined up, and these are Fusiliers of line, firing into the British line. Look at that. Extremely cinematic. Wow. You hear the French scream as they're dying, but look at this. Just firing volley after volley. And oh, nice British charge right here. The cavalry, that has completely destroyed that line. Fantastic play here. Good decision by Wellington. And that actually was a very good play. Knocked out that old guard unit, but the second old guard is now in square, so they'll be immune to those cavalry. And it looks like the French are now actually taking the position on the hill. And it looks like they have, yeah, the British are actually in a retreat. So it looks like Wellington has won the hill. And you would think this is the battle. But Wellington has something else up his sleeve. He has a backup plan. And that backup plan is unfortunately a super desperate plan. Just behind the hill that Wellington was defending is a church, a defendable position in the valley. He knows it's the last chance he has. With about 550 men remaining, Wellington moves his forces into the church. 400 men defend the church, with about 250 men on the outside. Napoleon knows that he has a 4-to-1 advantage, pushes his infantry up, surrounds the church, slowly waiting for his cavalry to fit the flanks and his artillery to be in range. Wellington knows it's the last stand and likely his last day alive on this earth, and his men, well, will die with Wellington. The French have no choice but to do a melee charge into the church. Once this church, a place of holiness, is now the site of the last stand. And as you see here, the British troops are now filing into the last position, probably their last place they will ever live. They have been beat. They know they have lost, but they will go out strong, and they will go out with honor, fighting against a numerically superior French force. The French, knowing they have the complete advantage, are now moving their forces onto the hilltop, surrounding the church, just viewing their prey before they take them out. Thousands of French men are now looking upon the very beat British position. Here we go, we got some light infantry here, getting ready to peek over the top of the hill that they have just so bravely fought for. And positioning and positioning. That is the name of the game in this situation. You have to position your troops correctly, both sides. And the defenders, or the British, now have... So they put some line infantry, just basic guys here. Pretty wide formation. Just want to get as much, or maximize that firepower as the best they can. Lots of troops inside the walls of the church, because they know they're protected from musket ball fire. And as you see here, there's nowhere they can go. This is a hill, and they will hold. Another troop gets on the left flank here to defend this. And yeah, it's not looking good. This is one heck of a last stand here. You can see a beautiful sight here of this church, but look at this. You can see the French position. It's impressive. That's the only word I can say about this. The French line here is now massing their light infantry into the front to extend the range of their fire and put in their main infantry just behind a pretty standard issue. That's how they took the hill, and that's how they'll take out this church. Napoleon, as you can see, is now overloading his troops, and he is spreading them wide, enveloping this position, and it looks like the first shots are being fired from the church steeple, the best range they have. And you got to think how hopeless the situation is for the British. They are just firing everything they have here. They know it's over. I mean, just look how many Frenchmen are on that hill. Hundreds. Let's get a nice little view here of their gunshots, and you can see the smoke come down the walls. Pretty cool. Like the line is now firing. It looks like the French are getting every bit closer to this church. And the French are now firing. Their light infantry is now firing into the lines. Not the best firing position, but it's enough to suppress and at least get some kills on that British line. And the French are getting even closer. Almost the main infantry's in range. So let's just see how this goes. That was a little firefight from the skirmishers. And as you sit here and watch, you can hear the fifle and drum beat down as the troops get closer and closer. And keep in mind, the French artillery is actually out of range. It's going to take a good bit for them to get in range here, so you won't see any cannonballs hitting the building. But what you see is, look at that. Look at that lineup. That is awesome looking. Oh, looks like the Fusiliers are now marching forward. And some British defense. Oh my gosh, you see all that smoke coming out of that building? Oh my goodness. Wow, that's still a lot of firepower from the British side. Very, very cool seeing the gunshots from the church steeple and the lines into it. They see the French line head to head. And look at these three guys. These guys are brave, just sitting out in the open here. Okay, you know, they're probably going to get a medal if they survive. But it's just non-stop firing now from the British. Look at the fire rate at this point. But if you see that line, they're getting shredded. They're just dropping like flies. Very intense firefight here in this church. Wow. Okay, the French troops are now moving to the flank. These are like the Fusiliers line. Look like these are really good melee troops. Yeah, they're getting shot up from that barn. Look at the church team. Look at that. Ooh, rip that guy on the line. Rip that guy. Yeah. Okay, so they're definitely taking some casualties here. So they can fire a little volley into that church. No, they might not be in range just yet. They're just actually getting shot. They're not in range just yet, though. They're taking some serious casualties, though. I mean, look at this. Oh, here we go. Some looks like some French cavalry took out that external line, and now the church steeple. Look at this. Oh, it's like a. Oh man, this is bad. This is a bad situation if you're British. And look at Wellington. Wellington's now in the melee. Yeah, he's going down with his troops. He's literally fighting with his saber. And the first French Fusiliers are now marching into the church, into the melee has begun. And there will be hundreds of more French troops to start this. And here comes the old guard. Oh man, the situation's getting worse and worse by the second. It looks like this is Napoleon right here, just viewing the battle from afar. There he is. Wonder what's going through his head. He just became victorious in Waterloo. But the last British soldiers are fighting so bravely, holding out this church. Look how many British Fusiliers are now in the mix. You can't do anything about it. The situation is absolutely hopeless now for the British. There's a French cavalry just circling around the building. Excuse me if you can't hear me, it's very loud with this melee. And the British are still fighting. They're still returning fire. They're doing the best they can. They know it's over, but they're still going to put something up here. Surprised the right flank here hasn't charged in, so we'll wait for them to come in. But yeah, it's not looking too good here. View from the church steeple. It's, oh man, look at that. And look, Wellington just died. The Duke of Wellington has just died. Look, there he is. He lays dead among his men. The French have killed Wellington in this battle. This is a horrible day for the British. And he lies dead. I believe that's him right here. Oh man. Oh, that's going to destroy British morale. Whatever morale they had left, it's now over. Look at the French line. It's just, it's overpowering, this defensive hold. This is horrible. And that feels like the British have now stormed into the church itself. And I believe the British are actually, or the French stormed in. I think the British are now breaking. It looks like the British has just broke. And the French have secured the church, and this is it. The French have 100% won. There it is. They have won the Battle of Waterloo. Extremely devastating loss for the British. They were outnumbered. They knew they had no chance. They inflicted massive casualties, though, but in the end, the French won Waterloo. And I want to thank you guys for your patience. I know it's been about 2 weeks since the last upload. I spent a lot more time on this one. Also had to deal with school, because I'm back in school and all that stuff. So this one, it was a lot different. It was a lot more fun to make than the other ones. I decided to change it up a little bit. So this is my early attempt at these kind of videos. I kind of want to continue these sort. So please, it took a lot of work to make this. A lot of my friends, I want to thank people from the comment section help me make this. We'll link their channel in the YouTube in the description down below, but I want to thank them for making me help make this possible, the battle. This took a long time to make. I really do appreciate if you subscribe and like. If you want me to continue this, just tell me, because I enjoy doing this. But I want to thank you guys so much for watching, and have a great night, everybody. Good night.